In today's reality, disasters and trauma have become an urgent and universal challenge. From widespread violence to natural disaster, crisis can happen at any moment. Since 1948, Israel has endured 7 wars, 2 uprisings, thousands of terror attacks, and a series of armed conflicts. For many Israelis, living under threat is a way of life. With rocket fire and terror and the ever-present potential of war, Israel is a state on high alert. This is the story of ITC. By 2001, war and terror had spread from the border into our communities. In response to the needs and gaps in trauma care, the UJA Federation of New York initiated the Israel Trauma Coalition for a stronger and more resilient civil society. ITC is a unique partnership between Israel and the UJA Federation of New York in providing care for psychological trauma and creating preparedness. We partner with 40 specialist organizations and activate hundreds of professionals and thousands of trained volunteers. Together, we impact millions of lives and leverage each dollar you invest by 17. How does it work? ITC has developed groundbreaking methods for crisis response in Israel, our region, and the world. ITC works before, during, and after a crisis. We can only respond effectively the day crisis strikes if we are there the day before. How do we prepare for crisis? ITC provides active intervention. We train responders and caregivers through education courses, dissemination of cutting-edge intervention techniques, and intensive on-the-job training. It's built resilience centers to organize, prepare, and mobilize communities for coordinated and rapid response to emergencies. ITC designs real-time emergency protocols with local government, hospitals, and civil society organizations to ensure quick, effective, and efficient response and recovery. The ongoing partnerships we create, nurture, and develop ensure our preparedness in times of crisis. What do we do during crisis? ITC assesses the needs in real time with its partners in the government and home front command. We deploy our teams of psychotrauma experts to reinforce trained emergency teams in frontline communities and activate its existing networks of trained staff and volunteers to provide leadership, direction, and ongoing support during a crisis. During crisis, ITC is the eyes and ears of Home Front Command. They use our knowledge and collective expertise to manage the emergency. In the aftermath, for every person physically injured, there are 22 who are emotionally scarred. ITC is there to provide psychological care to post-trauma victims, be they elderly, children, or families. ITC is there to support local government consulting with teams in their rehabilitation efforts, strengthening resilience centers, communal rehabilitation, and creating a civil resilience society able to respond, recover, and bounce back. Thanks to you, we are the leaders in the field of trauma in size, impact, and innovation. 1 in 5 Israelis have been impacted by our work. Around the globe, ITC has helped in Japan, the Philippines, Sri Lanka, Haiti, and even in your home. The U.S. after 9/11, Hurricane Katrina, Sandy, and the Boston Marathon attacks. In the words of Dr. Ruske, former Executive Vice President and CEO of UJA Federation of New York, who would have thought that 4 modest grants made 12-plus years ago would not only strengthen the capacity of Israelis to respond in the aftermath of terror, but would also be an example of the best in Israeli diaspora collaboration and emerge as a globally recognized leader in treating psychological trauma for people of every background. Really, who would have thought? Our mission is to create a resilient society. We thank you for being the backbone of this mission.